We were looking for him, and I finally figured out he was dating this girl who was a stripper. We had went up on one weekend, like 3 or 4 guys, and we go into the strip club. So we're in there waiting around the strip club, and we're like looking for her and looking for him, and we never did find him and stuff. We got talking to the bouncer, and they're like, oh, yeah, I've seen him before. His girlfriend does work here. She's off tonight, and don't know where she lives. All I know is they said she don't live too far from here. She just has got an apartment. So that told me, okay, they just had got an apartment. Well, he was posting on social media, and he was posting pictures of like him standing in front of the pool, like, look at me, I'm a big shot, I got a pool, and I got this pit bull and stuff. Well, then he tried to say he was in Alabama. So we thought, well, maybe he did run to Alabama. So I called a guy I knew in Alabama, and I'm like, if he's in Alabama, he's at Grandma's, can you go over there and check it out? So he went over there, and he says, he's not at Grandma's. Right. Well, the very next morning, the guy posted a picture of the pit bull sitting on a bed. Well, the pillows on the bed matched some photos from his girlfriend's Facebook page. Like, he's with her. So then we started looking, trying to figure out what apartment complex he's in Atlanta. There's so many apartment complexes in Norcross where he was. I'm steadily rolling through pictures, and I'm like, okay, he's got a dog. He's at a pool. So I start looking up apartments who are pet friendly, where you can have pets and have a pool. And once I narrow those down out of the list of however many there were, I narrowed it down to so many, and I'm writing it all down and I'm figuring it out. I was going back through the pictures, and I said, look at the pool tile. Look at the chairs at the pool. So I start looking at the different apartment complexes, their online brochures, and looking at their pools.
Right.
I found the apartment complex picture of the pool that had the same exact pool tile. Tracked down the pool tiles, and finally I kept looking through the different brochures, and I'm like, it's this apartment complex. This is the only one that's pet friendly, has a pool, has these same pool tiles in the chair. And the pool tiles I'm talking about were like second layer inside the pool. So like the picture was just good enough where I could see inside the pool. That's what gave it away. So I knew the apartment complex. So we decided I was going to take a day off work, my buddy and me. And so I took off work, and we went up there on a Friday, and we pulled in this apartment complex, and I'm in the office. I walk in the office, and I'm like, hey, look, got this guy I'm looking for. I got a warrant for him. I said, I know he's in this apartment. I said, I want y'all to open the door for him. I want y'all to verify that, if it's in his name or his girlfriend's. I didn't tell them I didn't know which apartment it was. I was trying to bullshit them. So I'm like, I know he's in here. Y'all can save yourself a door because I'm fixing to kick it in. So she's like, oh my God, let me look it up. So she starts going through stuff, and my phone rings. That's my buddy in the parking lot. I'm like, what's up? He goes, man, he just walked outside. I said, what? He goes, yeah, he's outside. So I tell her, hold on a minute. So I'll go outside, and I'm like, what's up? He goes, man, he's outside. He's walking that dog. It's a puppy.
Oh, cool.
So no big deal. So my buddy went around one side, I went around the other, and we got the guy. He had no clue, and he's like, how the hell did y'all find me and all this stuff? I made like $2,700 and maybe 6 other hours in him other than that.
My sister had lost her engagement ring. My mom says, oh, did you ever get a new ring? Did you get this check from State Farm to get your new ring? And she said, oh, no, I didn't tell you? Oh, Mom, this is what happened. She said, I lost the ring. I claimed it with State Farm. They sent me the check, and we were going to go and look for new rings. And she said, goes to pick up her son. I want to say it was Jake. Goes to pick him up from school one day, and walks, as he's getting in the car, he said, Mom, you got to park. My teacher wants to see you. And she goes like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Parks the car, walks in. She says, what's going on? Jake said you wanted to see me. And she said, we had a show and tell kind of thing, where we talk about what we're doing in the weekends and this and that. And Jake had said that you were supposed to go pick up another ring. You had lost your engagement ring a couple months ago, and you and your husband were going out, and that was something they were doing this weekend. And she said, yeah. And she said, what type of a cut was the ring? And she said, oh, it was a 2-carat or whatever, diamond, whatever the cut is, princess cut, whatever. Yeah. And she said, okay. She said, what kind of gold? And she said, oh no, it was white gold or whatever, platinum band, the whole thing. She goes, did it look like this? And she went, oh my God, that's my ring. Where did you find it? She said, I don't know how, but I walked to my car after school a couple months ago. It was I saw it on the ground. I picked it up. I realized I brought it home. It was real. My husband was like, that's real. Brought it back, and it's been sitting in my desk. And she said, here's your ring. And I went, sweet. And you got the check from State Farm. Everybody in my family, keep in mind, there's my brother, 2 sisters, their spouses. I mean, there's like 12 people sitting around this huge table my mother had. They all look at me and they go, well, Matthew, she can't keep the check. She got the ring back. That's what the check was for, to get another ring. I go, right. I go, but State Farm doesn't know that. State Farm doesn't know that. Right. And I look at her, and they went, well, that That would be dishonest. The f are you people? Listen, my girlfriend looked at me at the time like she's looking at me too. Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, I wasn't thinking. I'm like, okay, clearly my reaction isn't correct. And as soon as that whole thing died down, I turned around, I said, is something wrong? She goes, I don't know what the f up with your family. She said, I'd have taken that $15,000 and pocketed it and kept the fucking ring. She's like, I don't know what they were thinking.
Would.
So I went to that party and I left immediately because I was freaked out. But I guess my ex-husband had set his sights on me, and he actually contacted somebody that I knew, a mutual friend, and made her $15,000 in the stock market to get me to show up at a restaurant for dinner.
You didn't
No, she just said to me, hey, do you want to go to dinner? And I said, sure. She goes, that guy Jordan might be coming. I said, what's he coming for? Isn't he married? She said, what do you care? I said, I don't care. I just think it's weird.
Right.
But I was like, okay. And I showed up. And so he gets out of his white Testarossa with his cowboy boots and saunters over to the table and sits down. Now I have no idea it's a setup. And we just start talking. And I'm from Brooklyn. He's from Queens. We know a lot of the same people. I'm 22. He's 28. And we just got along really well. And then he was like, can I drive you home? I was like, okay, maybe this guy does like me. And then he dropped me off. And he said, what's your phone number? And I said, I'm listed under Ophelia Lopez, because that was my roommate at the time. You know, there was no cell phones or anything.
Oh, yeah.
I just hopped out of the car. And then the next day I came home and there was 1,200 square foot of flowers outside my door for my 800 square foot apartment.
That was, yeah, he was all in.
He was go big or go home.
Yeah.
He was married and I wasn't interested in that. And so I went and actually lived in Chicago for a while. And then I came back in December and we were both working out at the Vertical Club, which was the hottest spot in the city to work out. And I bumped into him there. And he asked me out.
Was that an accident, or he really was working out there? Was
I
it?
think he was, I don't know. It could have been fate or destiny or whatever we call that. So we go on our first date and he says to me, I'm separated. He has an apartment in the city.
Is any of that true?
Separated.
Is that true?
Yeah. I don't know how separated he was, but again, I'm so young. So I don't understand all the rules of the game at this point. Right. I'm just very trusting person. And so we go out on a date and that's it. We fell madly in love.
There's a scene in the movie where you two are in the back of a limo and the wife shows up.
Yes.
Like, did that happen?
That
like,
happens.
Like that?
Just like that.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Can I trust you? He goes, probably not. He goes, I did hide some Ponzi scheme money. Okay. I gave my wife, not much, $150,000. And I remember thinking, is that enough to get me a sentence reduction? So maybe a month or so later, I call my lawyer. Anything going on in there? I said, no, nothing. You sure? Nothing? It was just weird, right? Like, you never wanted to talk to me before. I said, yeah, you know what? Listen to this. There's a guy here named Ron Wilson. So she types him up. She goes, oh, wow, this is a bad guy. And I said, this is what he told me. And she goes, okay, hold on. She said, look, I'll look into it for you. Okay. A week later, a correctional officer comes up to me and says, Cox, you got to go to SIS, which is internal security. So you got to go there on the next move. I go, okay. So I go there. Come here, Cox, sit down. Okay. He boop, 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 dials the phone. Here, what's going on? Like, I don't know what the fuck's happening. So I'm like, yeah, what's up? And this guy goes, hey, this is a Secret Service agent. And I'm like, yeah. He said, I understand you know where Ron Wilson hid Ponzi scheme money. I go, yeah, but I need something in writing saying you're going to give me something. And he goes, well, okay, I'll try and blah, blah, blah. He ends up sending me something saying that if they recover any money, a substantial amount of money, or anybody's indicted, they will consider it substantial assistance and reduce my sentence. What else do I have? It's all I'm going to get. So I tell him what happened. They interview Ron Wilson's wife. The next day, his wife comes in and gives him $350,000, including gold bullion, silver, because he was a silver dealer. They indict the wife and Ron Wilson.